Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I just want to thank you guys for 250 subscribers. That is an amazing goal and was actually my next goal. So, my goal after this one is the big 1k, but my micro goal, I guess you could call it, is 500, which is double this, and then it'll be double that. So, I just want to thank you guys for just the amazing support and all that. I also want to give you kind of a precautionary. If I do sound a bit weird today, I have had numbing stuff on my mouth because I've had one of my, I think it's my left upper C tooth taken out. If anyone knows what that means, so if I sound a bit weird and mispronunciate, it might just be me, and it might also just be the anesthetic or whatever you want to call it, mouth numbing thing. It was an injection. Sorry if that triggered some people. I know people aren't good with injections, but I thank you all for sticking by. If you're still stuck by, I just want to ask you, give 10 seconds to ask you to like and subscribe. Helps me out a bunch, and as you know, I'm trying to reach the new goal of 500, and I want to thank you guys who have already liked, subscribed, and comment and interact with my videos because you're amazing. Anyway, we're gonna jump right into this. So it's starting with Luffy. Oh, I don't know if to call him Luffy or Deku, but I'm going to call him Deku because he's using Luffy's quirk, which is rubber skin. It's like the Gumma Gumma no Mi, I think it is in Japanese. Anyway, we're just going to go the rubber fruit. Anyway, so it's starting off with him walking into UA because he's just on the 10 months training. So he's walking into UA. He's discovered his power a bit. He's unlocked a new hidden power, and he's unlocked another new hidden potential power, but it's not safe enough to use yet, so he refuses to use it. This is because it's directly affecting his biology. You guys might know what it is, but I'm going to keep it a secret. I think I spoiled it last video, but you never know. Anyway, so let's go right into it. So he's walking up to class, and he trips up to be saved by a mysterious girl that has a fascinating quirk. He lifts him up using a mind. It looks like it's been very taxing on her, but at the same time, she seems easy, and she all around gives off the vibe of an easygoing person. The green-haired rubber boy thanks her, and what was that? The green-haired rubber boy thanks her, and he ends up moving away in awkward shyness. But he still feels like he's talked to a girl. Just let me take a drink, sorry. This is when he walks into the exam hall to be informed about what will be going on in the exam. Just in case you forgot, I'm going to quickly recap you. And that is, there will be 3 different types of robots. The 1-pointer, the 2-pointer, and the 0-pointer. It's going to work a little bit like a video game. They're in the city, they've got to destroy them. The more robots you destroy, the more points you get. Throughout the whole of this, Deku is still mumbling, which leads him to be told off by Ida, and leads Deku to be embarrassed. Anyway, it is then he is put into an arena, I guess you could call it. He's then put into the arena where he's told to go, and since he's had some training, he knows to go straight away. This is when he uses his rubber power to basically go Gumma Gumma no Bazooka. This is where he slings both of his arms backwards, stretching as far backwards as he can, and lets him slingshot forward. This takes off the head of the first 1-pointer he encounters. He then goes towards a 2-pointer, screaming Gumma Gumma no Gatling. This is where he basically, sorry, I just pulled my chair down. This is where he basically hits him with a barrage of different punches. So it's punch after punch after punch after punch. Each one was slung back a bit, and this wears down the 2-pointer robot, defeating it in about 10 seconds. This has tired him out a bit, but he realizes he doesn't have the time to wait. So that's when he goes and lifts his foot really high up in the air, well, no, he runs to the next 2-pointer, lifting his foot really high up in the air and screaming, sorry if I say this wrong, Gumma Gumma no Battle Axe. This is where his foot hits the ground, destroying the 2-pointer completely in one hit, but also cracking the ground a bit. This is when he then realizes the 2-pointer is in the arena, but the person that saved it, the lovely person that saved him earlier, is now stuck. He realizes that he's gonna have to somehow get the concrete off her. Having more time than last time, what he does, without hesitation, he uses Gumma Gumma no Gatling, but completely doing it into like stretching it back and stretching it into fresh air, I guess you could call it, like empty air. And when he's stretched himself forward to the extreme, he grabs a hold of the rock, letting his arms pull the boulder off the girl, slinging it backwards, and that's when he moves out of the way and the rock gets slinged backwards, which he actually targets to hit another 2-pointer robot coming from behind him. This is where his tactical prowess comes in, but he realizes the robot's not going to be stopped and the girl is somewhat injured. So, what he does, he decides to use his spring-like legs to jump up in the air. Scratch that, I don't think that's a thing. He decides to grab onto 2 sides of the buildings and slingshot himself into the air. He then bites into his arm and goes, Gear free! Why did I actually bite into my arm? I bet that's not good for my new teeth. So then he screams gear free, blowing air into his arm, causing it to go giant. That's when he pulls back a punch and goes and punches. This completely annihilates the robot, but also causes him to go tiny, which isn't very good. Of course, because he's still got to fight. So, he goes tiny, and then he realizes he's fallen to the ground, and the time has about 5 seconds left, and he's about to fall to the ground, but luckily, he is then kind of slapped, I guess, but more tapped this time, more like pushed by Chaku, due to her having more, well, she's still injured, but this time she's not got a boulder near her, so due to having more, like, leniency, she manages to tap him and stop him from falling. He's very grateful for this. And that is when the UA exam is finished and the nurse comes running up to Deku, now about 3 foot when he's usually around 5, and she's like, I've never seen this one before. And Deku's like, it's fine, it just happens when I use it, it's because I went all out. And this is kind of and that's when the nurse lady said, this can't be good for you. But, I mean, you're a kid. I'm sure your body can take it somehow. You know, I just know the normal anatomy, not the rubber one. And she kind of laughs it off. This is when he starts to walk home, feeling a little more confident in himself. Of course, with the less focus on his body for the training and more focus on discovering his powers and training tactically, he of course had more time to train his mind, which means he got higher on the entrance exam, which means he got in and actually got first place due to him having higher battle points and still having the hero points, but this time higher than last time because he didn't sacrifice a body part but still sacrificed his chances to be a hero. Just going to restart my music so it sounds nice. Anyway, so we are now in the school, so he's less nervously, more confidently walking into school, hoping that he doesn't see the person that completely embarrassed him in front of his peers, and also hoping but also hoping Baka goes in his class, because now they're buddies, due to him like being strong as well. And that's when he walks into the class and sees damn, and then gets yelled at, damn Deku, you know we're gonna have to fight now. And Deku's like, yeah, I know, but is there any point scratching his head. And Bakugo's like, of course there's a point. Why wouldn't there be a point? And that's when he smirks and goes, because I'm going to thrash you, mate. Now, here's a little dictionary lesson. I just realised what I said. Thrash means beat in UK language. Like, UK. Anyway, so basically, Bakugo and change it from thrash. Deku goes, I'm gonna dominate you, and then Bakugo's like, damn fool. I mean, I guess it'll be even when I'm holding back, and then basically, the kind of Bakugo's a lot nicer to him, but a lot more laid back as well. So nothing starts off, other than Ida then walks up to him and says, oh, you're so smart, thinking that you could both get hero points and savior points. That was pretty smart for you to beat the exam. You beat it. You're now my model student. And that's when Bakugo goes, damn, pushover, and Deku then tries to reassure Ida. He had no clue what he was doing. Just gonna take a quick drink, quite thirsty. That is then when the person he saved walks into class and he goes, I would never forget that green hair anywhere. It's you, Deku. Thanks for saving me, by the way. Oh, wait, no. I would never forget that green hair from you. It's that boy that saved me from the exam. Thanks for saving me, by the way. What's your name? And that's when Deku mumbles, Izuku Midoriya? And then Ochaku's like, Izuku? And that's when Bakugo shouts over, don't you mean Deku? And Ochaku goes, huh, I like the name Deku. Good hero name. And then Midoriya, embarrassed, goes to sit down to his seat, and Aizawa walks in, telling them all to basically shut up and that welcome to UA, but we're going straight into a quirk analysis. And then Ochaku asks, but what about orientation? And Aizawa's like, do you think in the real world you'll be taught what to do and told what to do? Given a break? Didn't think so. Now, as I was saying, we're going to have a quirk analysis, and the person that comes last is expelled. This causes everybody to get scared but pumped up because they don't want to be kicked out. So it starts off with him going to Deku. They all get into their UA uniform, and then he goes to Deku. Why not? Since you got first place, why don't you see how far you can throw this ball? That's when he goes, Goma, no. Catapult! I just made it up, really. And he slings the ball as far as he can, using his stretch backwards as a kind of catapult slingshot thing, and launching the ball about, I'll go 800 meters, but about 10 more meters than Bakugo, just to annoy him. That's when Bakugo does it, gets 10 more meters less, and then everyone else does it. As for the speed test, he's just an average speed with a little more elasticity behind his steps, so he's just only a little bit faster for that one. The next one is the jump into the side. That one's quite easy for him due to his elasticity and his increased stamina due to his quirk basically inspiring him to work out more, which means he comes like middle of the range. Not quite that good though, because his quirk don't really match most of them. It's more like a fighting quirk, to be honest, this time. But it's still enough to get him away from last place, which leaves Mineta in last place. This is sad because Mineta actually doesn't get kicked out. Yeah, that's right. He doesn't get kicked out. That's because Aizawa, well, what he says, he says it was just an optical, whatever it is, and he was actually gonna kick Mineta out. Sorry, I'm just gonna reset the music for you guys. Just because we're getting near to the end of the song. I hope this Blue Pearl's good anyway. I've kind of just nicked the music. I don't even know if you can hear it. Anyway, but he kept Mineta. He was gonna expel Mineta, but he kept him on because he saw a bit of himself in there. Sure, he was an absolute perv, but at least he had a capture quirk, and he knew that Aizawa he himself wouldn't do as good in this test, and he will probably become last, just because his quirk didn't match, and it kind of settled with him, which is also what he did with the Shinsu guy, but not as much for Mineta. So he's kind of just enough to keep him on the course, basically, and sees potential in him. That will lead us into the All Might arc, which I'm actually going to get going, because the only battle that changes is Bakugo and Deku. So Bakugo still charges ahead, wanting a fight with Deku. That's when they sneak attack him, and he gets a blast, but Deku saves the Traku. This is when Bakugo comes in with the right hook, but Deku, knowing that, actually dodges it and goes Goma Goma no pistol, punching him in the face, knocking him to the ground and causing him to go back a bit. That is when Bakugo hits him with a big explosion. So what Deku does, he pushes Ochaku out of the way, getting himself out of the way, and lets the explosion go off, which causes Bakugo to get mad since he missed the explosion. And then he jumps around the corner whilst he's still getting out of the big shock from the explosion that Bakugo did. So he's still he basically gets him off guard after the shot, and Deku goes Goma Goma no Gauntlet, a Gatling, and hits him with a range of punches, bunch of punches, which actually knocks him out. And then they tape him up, and that's Bakugo taken out of the ring. And of course then Ida charges at them, and Deku basically uses his elasticity and square on punches him in the face, and then kind of slingshots, he uses his rubber to slingshot Ochaku in there so she can get behind Ida whilst he has one hand around Ida, which his force of his run stretching his arm, but because of the force from Deku holding him back, it causes him not to be fast enough to catch up to Ochaku, who then gets the bomb due to joint effort, which causes the hero team to win and Deku to win MVP. The rest turns out the same, which is then where I'm going to leave it here. The reason I'm leaving it here is because it's been a good 20 minutes. I've enjoyed this recording. If you take it too long, it gets a bit boring. Anyway, thanks for watching. You've been banging. You've been a good audience. This should come out on the 26th, so I hope you enjoy. Goodbye.